Do you like survival games? Well, here are some that will have you hunting for resources in 2016.
If you think about it, some post-apocalyptic games actually make the end of the world seem like a bit of a giggle. Fallout 4, right? Suddenly you can reinvent yourself as anything you want, you can explore the wasteland as you please, you can become as powerful as you desire. You don't need to worry about looking after the kids, or feeding the cat, or mopping the floor, or all that stuff. Of course, if the bombs really dropped and the world as we knew it crumbled under them, the reality would be a bit different. And that's why I'm fascinated by Sheltered, a 16-bit style survival game that puts you in the harrowingly domestic position of a family of 4 after things have gone sideways. Sheltered is a bit like The Sims after you drop a nuke on the little burbling buggers. You need to fix up your shelter, keep it clean, craft basic amenities and improvements, manage your supplies, and make sure that your mum and dad and 2 kids, and the family pet as well, are kept healthy and happy. Well, maybe not happy, but functioning at least. Of course, there are other survivors out there, and they're not all friendly, but most of them would quite like to borrow your shelter from you, and you'll need to decide when and who to send out on expeditions to gather supplies. If you've played this war of mine, you'll have a good idea of how it all works. But the smart bit of Sheltered is that by setting you up as a family unit, you are forced to make almost unthinkable choices really early in the game. Now, if games like Fallout make the end of the world seem like a bit of an opportunity, Sheltered reminds you just how much you've got to lose. It's available on Xbox One right now, and take my advice, think twice before you name your in-game family after your wife or husband, or your kids, or your pets.
Like your survival with a dash of creepy? How about generous helping? Plus a little bit more for good measure. Great stuff. Meet the Solus Project. After crash landing on the uncharted planet Gliese 6143c, that's not hard to say at all, you'll need to get to grips with surviving the planet's harsh environment and weather cycle pretty quickly, or watch your health, calories, warmth, and thirst start to plummet. Did we mention that you also need to make contact with your fleet pretty sharpish, or you'll spend the next 15 years abandoned on the planet? Yeah, that too. The standout part of this game though has to be the audio. When a storm comes in and the atmosphere gets tense, the score will have you dashing for the nearest safe place. And your anxiety will be through the roof. And just when you think you've got it all figured out and you're rocking this whole pipe torch and you've found a water source, the game will drive you to explore the huge underground cave system, and you start to realize this planet isn't quite as uninhabited as you first thought.
What is this place?
Minecraft started out as purely a game of collecting materials and crafting, hence Minecraft. However, Mojang decided to deepen the gameplay, so resources took a turn towards survival, as players had to learn how to build a house now, the zombies are coming, oh god, okay, I'll just hide in this wall. Oh, and having recently had a go on Minecraft on Oculus Rift, I can safely say that zombies are scarier in 3D. Yes, elements of danger in the form of angry mobs turned Minecraft into a survival game as well as a crafting one, and a classic was born. By the release of the Xbox One edition, Minecraft had also ditched the idea of stuffing a pork chop in your face for immediate health, and instead installed a hunger bar, which would kill us when empty. So we all had to get used to killing lots of adorable pixel pigs, cows and chickens in order to constantly top it up and stave off death. Or, you know, like build a farm, but it's just not as fun.
If you haven't seen any Ark Survival Evolved gameplay yet, then you've been living under a rock, as this Xbox preview program title has been causing a storm online. Speaking of rocks, better get used to hoarding them because you're going to need them for the heavy crafting element of this game. Ark sees your character washed on the shores of a strange island, which you'll quickly discover is inhabited by none other than dinosaurs. So you already know this game is going to be sweet. In no time, you'll have punched to death your first dodo, eaten some tasty berries, and maybe even figured out how to start crafting the tools needed to build a base. All seems great. You've got this whole dino world survival thing down, and you'll be riding and breeding T-Rexes in your own Jurassic Park base in no time. Until you get a bit close to a Yeti and he tears you apart. Or it gets dark and some raptors come out to feed. Or that berry you ate actually zapped your health. Or it got sunny and you died of dehydration. Or you broke your leg and, well, really, this list goes on.
One awesome survival game is The Flame in the Flood by indie developer The Molasses Flood. Throughout the game, you have to keep an eye and maintain your hunger, thirst, warmth, and energy, because if you neglect one, you'll just end up dead fairly quickly. One thing that I also love is that you get your very own dog companion who can sense danger and also fetch you supplies. Now, who doesn't love having a companion, especially a dog? Within the game, you're able to craft a huge variety of items from weapons to clothing. You'll also need to go onto your raft to travel up to new locations to scavenge new items to help you survive. But keep an eye out for wolves because they will definitely kill you, especially early on if you're not prepared.
There are no zombies, ghouls, or raptors waiting for you here. Instead, the Long Dark pits you up against a much more formidable enemy, Mother Nature, who just happens to want to see you die an agonizing, icy death at every opportunity she can get. Uncool, Mother Nature, uncool. The stunning art style of this game sets it apart from your usual survival mix and really helps sell that desolate, snow-covered landscape that you'll be trying to survive in. You're 100% going to feel cold playing this game, and the exposure will feel all too real. Bring a jumper. The Long Dark also features no hand-holdings. You really are on your own. Make no mistake, your first attempt will see you huddled over a tiny stove as the temperature drops in that tiny shack you stumbled across. And those wolves that you spotted in the distance, yeah, they're starting to draw near. That's definitely not what happened to me at all when I first played.
In a world where everyone speaks like slightly sad musical instruments, you get sucked through a portal to a place where you have to follow one simple rule. Don't starve. But beware, bunnies aren't the only things out there. Lots of weird and creepy creatures are waiting for you, and nothing made me feel as tense as running away from something wanting to crush me into a pulp. And that's not even touching upon the giant ones. But don't just think food and monsters are all you have to worry about. No, Don't Starve also has a sanity meter. Keep this topped up by crafting special items, staying out of the darkness, and avoiding looking at some of the weirder residents of the world, lest shadowy fiends appear to kill you. Why is everything trying to kill me?
Alright, you got me. Below is not strictly speaking a survival genre game, but as an unforgiving roguelike where insta and permadeath wait around every single corner, I'd argue that this is survival as survival games get. Cult indie developer Capybara is doing the work here, and what they're building is a gorgeous looking procedurally generated dungeon crawler that harks back to the golden era of games like Rogue and Zelda, while also taking cues from modern stuff like Spelunky and Dark Souls. Brutal but fair is the phrase Capybara keep using. You're not going to get coddled here, but if you take your time, develop your skills and execute your combat carefully, then you'll be able to explore the deepest depths of the dungeons. And it'll be worth it because not only are the dungeons filled with loot, but they look absolutely gorgeous as well. To make sure you feel isolated and vulnerable and to increase the scale of the dungeons around you, you play a tiny little character in the center of the screen. Now the environments are all procedurally generated, so you'll have different adventures every time, and I really love the way the visual style mixes hard lines and sparkly effects with that dark, claustrophobic atmosphere. You won't get many clues about where to go, what to do, or even why you're there. Cappy are dumping you in at the deep end and expecting you to sink or swim. And if that's not the epitome of a survival game, then I don't know what is. Below is coming to Xbox One and Windows 10 later this year. Prepare yourself.
In Subnautica, you find yourself in the oceans of an alien planet after your spaceship crashes into it. In order to survive, you need to build a base, and to build a base you must explore the waters around you to gather the resources you need. You can even work up to building farms. As you make your way around the water, you can bump into all kinds of amazing alien creatures. I mean, wow, I'm stranded on a planet far from home, but there's just so much beauty here. I mean, just look at these creatures and Okay, so is this a survival game or a survival horror game? Because that thing is all the no. I'm just gonna stay in one of the vehicles. Well, hopefully I'll be a bit more safe. No.
Not your typical survival game, but The Division is all about helping the people of New York to survive after the horror events of Black Friday, which caused the city to fall into chaos. The Division has a lot of similarities to traditional survival games, from crafting, inventory management, and trying not to die in an overly stupid manner. While you're navigating your way around the city, you'll have the opportunity to give civilians bottles of water or canned food for the chance of a reward. But where the game really gets its survival elements is when you're in the dark zone. It makes you question everyone and everything because you don't want to risk losing your loot that you want to extract, so you will do just about anything to survive.
Extraction operation complete.
Well, these are empty, but I hope your gaming collections won't be this year. Let us know what ones you're most excited for. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And subscribe for more cool videos, which I hope I'll be in if I can find some water. Bye.